Hello and welcome. My name is Kyle for the win, and welcome to a kind of a different video than normal. Today we are going to be talking about the situation over at Epic Games with the recent, the employees talking about their experiences and how things are going at Epic Games and all sorts of stuff like that. It's a little bit of a different commentary. Normally I just like to talk about Call of Duty, but luckily I'm going to compare what's going on over here at Epic Games directly to what's going on with Call of Duty right now. And this is, of course, a controversial topic. It's kind of a topic that's kind of been buried, but I'm bringing it back up again because a lot of things in this article bring up a very good point about maybe not being so hard on Call of Duty. Now, I understand how important it is to, give constructive criticism, and there's been a lot of, debates, and there's been a lot of, bad stuff going on with Treyarch and Activision, especially with the release of Operation Spectre Rising, so maybe a pretty bad time to make this video, but I just want to get my thoughts out there, talk about it, and everything like that. If you guys want to see a video talking about the controversial supply stream and the controversial reserves, I will definitely make a video on that. Just leave a like or leave a comment, whatever you guys want to do, and I will get that commentary out for you guys. But let's go back onto actually what the topic of the video is, and that is about Epic Games and what is going on with them, and then we'll compare it to Call of Duty at the end. So starting off here with the very beginning here, there's an article that came out from Polygon about a week and a half ago at the time of making this video, April 26th. And I will read the entire article out for you guys, and then we will, of course, talk about it, and then go to Call of Duty and talk about Call of Duty and how it, applies to this. It's a pretty long article, so I have some Black Ops 4 gameplay in the background for you guys to watch while I go through this entire article and talk about everything. Hopefully it's not too long of a video, but let's go ahead and jump into it. So, from Polygon, it says right here, how Fortnite's success led to months of intense crunch at Epic Games. Sources reveal long hours and intense pressure while working on hit game. It starts off here by saying the popularity of Fortnite has been transformative for Epic Games, but the game's explosive growth led to months of intense crunch for Epic employees and contractors, some of whom say they felt extreme pressure to work grueling hours to maintain Fortnite's success and profitability, resulting in a toxic, stressful environment at the company. In a dozen interviews conducted by Polygon over a period of several months, current and former employees say that they regularly work in excess of 70-hour weeks, with some reporting 100-hour weeks. Contract staff in Epic's quality assurance and customer service departments spoke of a stressful and hostile working environment in which overtime, which officially voluntarily was an expected service to the company. Although contract staff were paid overtime, developers report a culture of fear in which they were expected to pull long hours as part of their job. Some reported suffering health issues after working consecutive months of 70-hour weeks. Crunch is the name given to working in intense overtime, sometimes for stretches that last weeks or months. In the game industry, specifically, it was generally associated with the period of leading up to a game's launch, but in the age of early access releases, post-launch updates, downloadable content, and games as a service, crunch can be a constant problem, such as Game Workers Unite are calling for game industry workers to unionize in order to prepare their rights. Many workers in the game industry are hired as contractors, further limiting their rights. Epic launched Fortnite Battle Royale in September 2017 as a free game in which 100 players are dropped onto an island fighting one another until only one remains. The game followed the summer release of Fortnite Save the World, in which teams of players work together, gathering loot to fend off zombie hordes. While Epic spent years developing Save the World, the game's original incarnation, the company rushed Battle Royale to market in response to the success of PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds on Windows PC and its impending release on console. And there's a little quote to the right that says, "Getting a weekend away from work is a major achievement," which went up to what I said earlier. Fortnite Battle Royale quickly became a cultural phenomenon, earning Epic millions of dollars per day and funding rapid growth at the company. It is currently the most popular game in the world, especially among children. Its regular updates, including new weapons and map alterations, are followed avidly by millions of players and fans. In a matter of months, some of Fortnite's top streamers have become multimillionaires. Fortnite Battle Royale is part of a broad trend in gaming known as Game as a Service, in which popular titles are constantly updated with new modes, weapons, skins, and characters to keep the audience playing. This transition away from hard launches of singular products creates a rolling series of deadlines for game makers. Polygon interviewed current and former employees of Epic, including full-time staff, managers, and contractors working in development, QA, and customer service departments. They all requested that their identities be protected for fear of retribution from Epic or other employers in the game industry. Epic requires that current and former staff sign non-disclosure agreements limiting their ability to speak about the company's operations. I work an average of 70 hours a week, said one employee. That there's probably at least 50 or even 100 other people at Epic working these hours. I know people who pull 100-hour weeks. The company gives us unlimited time off, but it's also impossible to take the time. If I take time off, the workload falls on other people and no one wants to be that guy. The biggest problem is that we are patching all the time. The executives are focused on keeping Fortnite popular for as long as possible, especially with all the new competition that's coming in. A representative for Epic concluded that workers had endured extreme working hours. People are working very hard on Fortnite and other Epic efforts, said a spokesperson in an email interview. Extreme situations such as 100-hour work weeks are incredibly rare, and in those instances, we seek to immediately remedy them to avoid recurrence. And another quote to the left of the article says, "I've had friends break down in tears." Again, I will do a full overview when we read the full article, because if I do that, this video will be ridiculously long. I don't want that to happen. But meeting player demand and maintaining the game's momentum has forced some to endure ongoing crunch. The executives keep reacting and changing things, said one source. Everything has to be done immediately. We're not allowed to spend time on anything. If something breaks a weapon, say, then we can't just turn it off and fix it with the new patch. It has to be fixed immediately, and all the while we're still working on next week's patch. It's brutal. I hardly sleep. I'm grumpy at home. I have no energy to go out. Getting a weekend away from work is a major achievement. If I take a Saturday off, I feel guilty. I'm not being forced to work this way, but if I don't, then the job won't get done. Epic said that the sudden success of Fortnite Battle Royale had created difficulties. Fortnite achieved a far higher level of success than we had ever anticipated, said a spokesperson. Everybody throughout Epic responded to these successes with incredible vigor and commitment. The Fortnite team rapidly expanded the game to grow an audience. The Unreal Engine team began a broad effort to optimize for 60 frames per second and support 7 platforms. Others throughout the company moved to Fortnite to maintain momentum. According to multiple sources, workers at Epic operate on an implicit understanding that working crunch is an expected part of their role. This attitude towards crunch has become a trend in the AA game or AAA game industry and is routinely cited in reporting on crunch at other studios. Another quote says, one senior guy would say, "Just get more bodies." Now, we'll go ahead and end the reading there. There's not much left, but let's go ahead and break this down. We've already been talking for quite a while, so let's go ahead and get to the point. I'll probably end up cutting that article in half and just giving you guys the big details, but basically, let's break something down here. Epic Games, the game that I quit because there's too many constant updates, too many changes, and this article, when I watched this video, I watched a video from the Denver guy. A lot of you guys probably don't know who that is because he's mostly a Fortnite YouTuber, and I watched the video and I just had to make a video on this because this is bad. Like, this is not okay. Like, working, having a job, making a lot of money is important, but the thing about work is that work should be fun. And game developers have, honestly, probably the funnest jobs out there, but Epic Games employees do not. And of course, take this with a grain of salt. There's just a few Epic employees that talked about this stuff, but it could definitely 100% be true, but it also couldn't be true. We just don't know. we just don't know this. But basically, this is bad. This is really bad stuff here. 100-hour work weeks. Just think about that for a second. There are 7 days in a week. That is over 12 hours a day of working, which is terrible. And a lot of people love to complain about Call of Duty and how, oh man, Call of Duty has no constant updates. This is bad. Games should have constant updates. But take a step back and think about what I just read. Epic employees are living a very uncomfortable, not fun life right now due to all of this constant updates, constant changes that are happening in Fortnite. And that's why I quit the game, as you guys know in my video that said why I quit Fortnite. That was a big deal. That's a big part of why I quit Fortnite. Just the constant updates and the constant changes that I just don't like. And I mean, it completely made me rethink Call of Duty and what happens with the game. I've never been a guy that likes constant updates. I never will be a guy that likes constant updates, and it in fact ruins the game for me. I like updates I love the operation system in Black Ops 4 for that reason. It's one event, then there's like a good few month gap, and then there's more content. I've always liked that because it's just good to leave the game where it is. Because as you guys know with Fortnite, there are constant updates, which bring bugs, which means Epic Games has to fix that, which means they also have to work on a new update for the next week. And it's just, I can't imagine working there. It sounds so horrible, so stressful, sounds like absolutely no fun. And that is where Activision is a good company. Now, take that with a grain of salt as well, because of course there's the bullcrap DLC system, there's the money whore type actions from them, but here's why they're a good company. Have you ever seen a developer angry or stressed out or not passionate or just tired? The answer to that question is no. Every single Call of Duty developer I've ever seen has been a happy, positive person. Now, I don't know this for a fact because I've actually never been to the studios, but I've heard people say about what it's like to be at the studios, and every time I hear that, you can just tell that they are passionate and they are happy and happy creating the game for us. Now, this is not talking about any of the DLC system because that is a very controversial topic, and we'll talk about that in a different video, but quality of life at work is extremely important. I think a lot of people like to forget that the people who work on the video games that we love are human beings. They go through stress, they go through anger, they go through sadness, all sorts of emotions, because they are, they're working and they're creating something for us. And I think a lot of us always forget that these are people, that they're human beings who feel emotion and who work really hard on something. A lot of people like to forget that, but that's something that you shouldn't forget. Complaining is pointless. It always has been. The only thing that's good is constructive criticism, saying, hey, I would change this, or I would get rid of that. And I know that Activision and Treyarch is not listening sometimes, and that is, of course, extremely frustrating. But, again, they are people, and they are trying to listen, and they're trying to make a game for us to enjoy. I mean, just reading this article and watching that video from that Denver guy not too long ago, it just sounds terrible, and I can't imagine living through that type of experience, living in a job like that where it is a constant crunch, trying to get things pushed out on a deadline, on a weekly deadline. At least with Treyarch and Activision and Call of Duty, they have enough time to develop and create all of their DLC, all of their new events, all of their new specialists. They have time to do that. They're not crunching. Of course, you can argue that Black Ops 4 was a crunched release, that they pushed this game out before it was ready, and that's understandable. It probably was a stressful time at Treyarch during that period, but overall, I'm guessing now that they're creating all these DLCs now, and also beginning small development on their next game, they have a little bit less stress. They are working on it. And another massive thing, every Call of Duty developer has 2.5 years, 2.5 to 3 years to work on their game. Epic Games has to do that kind of stuff within a week. Now, of course, it's just adding an item or taking an item out or, doing stuff like that. But again, it's still doing something like that. It's hitting a deadline every single week. And that's made me be more accepting to less frequent updates, because after hearing about all this stuff, it's clear that Activision is giving Treyarch a pleasant working experience. And that's what they're doing. And again, there's a lot of issues with Black Ops 4, there's a lot of issues with Call of Duty, but again, at least the quality of life at Call of Duty is better than a company that has constant updates 24/7. There's a lot of drama with Fortnite that I'm not going to talk about on the channel because this is a Call of Duty channel, but I just wanted to read this article and compare it to Call of Duty and what's going on with Call of Duty right now. Anyway, guys, I'm going to end the video there. Again, my recording says about a half hour, 25 minutes, but I'm going to edit that down to just get the important parts of the article out of the way and upload it from there. But yeah, I just decided to make this video because I think it's really important that we don't beg for constant updates, because again, it's a quality of life thing. It is a quality of life thing for the people who work on the game. It is because they are people, they are not robots. If robots develop games, then maybe that crunch would be acceptable, but they are human beings who get stressed, who need a good quality of life, who need breaks, who need time with their families, and we're way too hard on all developers of all games. It's something that needs to change, and you have to just remember that these are people who are working to make the best game possible, and that the way the game runs is for a good quality of life and a happy work environment. Because obviously Fortnite's work environment is not, and Call of Duty's is, based on how the updates are mandated and how the updates go. Anyway, guys, again, that's going to be the video. I really hope you guys enjoyed it. Again, kind of a controversial topic. Please leave your comments down below and give me feedback and give your thoughts on the whole process. And if you guys, again, want to see a video talking about the DLC, then let me know down below in the comments, and I will make a video on that. I try to stay positive, but this is something that's really concerning for me. Let me know, and I will see you guys. Make sure you check out all of my other Operation Spectre Rising videos. I probably will get a patch note video out for you guys as soon as possible. I will try my absolute best, but I will see you guys on their Black Ops 4 video very, very soon.